and welcome to the analysis of the VARC sectional of EOM Exact CAT 3. Let's take a look at the VARC sectional. So with a total of 22 questions with 40 minutes, there were 18 MCQ questions and 4 non-MCQ questions without negative marking, which is the 2 parajumbles and the 2 out-of-context questions. There were 4 RCs totally, 2 RCs with 5 questions each and 2 RCs with 3 questions each. The length of the RCs was pretty challenging, with almost every RC being 500 plus words and one even being 670 words long. The total number of VA questions were 6, with 2 summary, 2 out of context, and 2 key in parajumbles. In terms of difficulty level and question types, the difficulty level of the questions, the overall flavor of the paper, this sectional was a replica, was a simulation of CAT 2020 afternoon slot, that is the second slot. So you'll find passages of similar density, questions more or less of similar, on similar lines, as well as the non-RC questions of similar difficulty. Let's look at the details. So how many easy questions did you find? Just 2. One in the economics RC, that is RC2, which spoke of timely and accurate data, quick data and correct data that comes your way for governments to take better policy decisions and ensure that the economy is moving smoothly. The 10th question, interestingly, a weekend question, was rather easy, a very evident option that stands out as that which refutes the idea in the passage. Question 15 of RC4, the history passage, the Spartan truth, the truth about the Spartans, what history has recorded and what actually is the unknown fact. One of the inference questions was a very easy one. What were the moderate questions? Quite a few questions moderate. Particularly, you'll find them largely spread across RC3 and RC4. RC3, the sociology RC, which talked of a hypothetical global catastrophe and what mankind needs as the basics for survival and preservation of the human species. 2 out of the 3 questions here were easy. It was only 1 question that was difficult. So the logical structure question, as well as the inference question, the logical structure question is that unusual one where there are keywords picked from the options from the passage and presented as options. So the line on which the passage develops, it's more on the lines of method of development of thought. How does the author develop the entire passage? What are the keywords that you will use to recreate this entire passage? You can even think of it that way. This is a question that we saw largely from CAT 2019. And yes, largely seen in every slot, probably almost every RC, we've seen this keywords, the set of keywords that captures the arguments, the main arguments of the passage. So that wasn't a very difficult one here. There was also one inference question in this sociology passage, which was not difficult. Likewise, the history passage, the Spartan truth. Questions 14 and 16, one inference and another weakened question. You can't regard them as very difficult. They appeared rather doable because once you pick the flow of the ideas in the passage, despite the number of words and the data and the names given there, is actually pretty easy. Whereas it is RC1 and RC2 that might have been quite challenging with the number of difficult questions. You can see that in RC1, there are only 2 questions out of 5 that are regarded as moderate. A philosophy-based RC, the passage had to do with visual culture, how different it is from visual, from just vision. Visual culture is about creating a certain cultural construct in which people are made to perceive the world in a certain way, how that visual culture influences us so much that, our interiority, the way in which we think, is reconfigured. Two of these questions, that is one inference, another the phrase-based inference, they were rather easy. Overall, though the passage made for heavy reading and was rather lengthy, 500 and odd words, you'd still find that the questions are doable, provided you're able to get the main idea. You've gone through the passage and you've got the main idea. So two of them can definitely be marked moderate. The other three are difficult. Whereas with the economics passage, it's quite lengthy, 670 words or so, which talked about the need for timely and accurate data, how governments have started collecting data on their own thanks to the pandemic, and that's actually helping them deal with a lot of things in a timely manner. Timely decisions can also be taken. We've already seen that one of the questions here was easy, another is marked moderate, which means there are three other questions that are difficult. Now, between the philosophy RC and the economics RC, if you are able to get through the philosophy RC and pick the main idea, you'll find that the questions are all doable. Whereas with the economics RC, getting through the entire RC because of its length, ensuring that, and it's a very analytical one too, the thought keeps changing, gets complex. So picking the idea accurately can be a problem, which means that your choice between RC1 and RC2 depends on what your comfort zone is. And if you relate to economics easily, then perhaps you get into this. But it's a difficult choice because both RCs have three tough questions, are fairly dense that way. So it's a fairly difficult choice to make here. Between RC3 and RC4, you can see that we've already marked one question of RC4, the history one, that is the Spartans and discussion about their reality. One of the questions is already marked easy. Other two questions, one was an inference one, another a weakened one, fairly moderate, not very difficult, which means overall this passage is doable. So is passage 3, the sociology one, the global catastrophe and what are the basics that mankind requires. One question is difficult, of course, but two others are fairly doable, which means this is also a doable RC. There are two RCs of 3 questions each that can be taken. Out of the summary, out of context, and parajumbles, which we had 2 questions each of, you'd find that the parajumbles were a little tricky. Forming those links was not very easy. Whereas, it was easier for you to go into summary, and most of you have begun to find summary questions as your comfort zone. So one of the summary questions was fairly, this is not even moderate, easy to moderate, you can say, because the option elimination was fairly easy if you understood the clear definition and distinction between illusion and hallucination that the author establishes in the passage. The language was also moderate. But it is only that other other summary question, which had very close options, very tricky options. The out of context, one of the out of context question was also fairly direct, visible, the statement fairly stood out being an odd one. What were the difficult questions? So we said 3 questions out of RC1, particularly the 2 inferences and the keywords question, fairly challenging, especially if you haven't got the main idea of the passage, then you'll find it difficult. If you pick the main idea, then yes, all 5 questions would be smooth sailing. Likewise, with the economics one, if you manage to get through the length, understand the analysis very clearly, then you'd be able to get through. Otherwise, these questions definitely are difficult because getting through the options could be challenging, particularly the one that has tone, the tone question, that can be, that was also a little challenging. The weakened questions were also difficult. Question 13 of RC3, we said that was a difficult one. One of the questions is difficult. And no difficult questions from RC4. 2 of the parajumbles, tricky because one link was not easily formed. The summary question to do with monopolies and cartels had very tricky options. You could get stuck there, particularly two, option B and C, I think. Question 22, the out of context one, very close sentences. That was the last one. The sentences were very close and difficult for you to identify the odd sentence. So where does that place us? We said that the three, RC3 and RC4, the three questions one, would be something you definitely want to take, particularly RC3. Between RC1 and 2, it all depends on how good you are at reading lengthy RCs, particularly for the economics one. Are you good at reading lengthy RCs and retaining the main idea? If yes, you'd find it doable. Otherwise, maybe, it's a tough choice here, and you might even end up taking only two RCs. In any case, assuming that you've taken RC3 and RC4 and any one of these RCs, RC1 or RC2, because most often you try to manage about 3 RCs in about 30 plus minutes. So that still leaves you with some time to get through at least one summary and one out of context question. Perhaps you would look at the parajumbles and find them a little tricky and let go of it, or be trapped there. So overall, considering that there were 2 easy questions, 9 moderate questions, and 11 difficult ones, out of which if you are expected to take about 8 or 9 of the moderate questions and about 3-4 difficult ones and the easy ones too, we're looking at roughly 14 attempts to be made with an accuracy of, with just 2 incorrect or an 80% accuracy, giving you a score of 34. Remember, we are only looking at 22 questions here, a total of 22 questions. So evidently the score is, the 99 percentile is at a lower score. So 34 fetches you a 98 percentile, a score of 31, which is about 13 questions and 2 inaccurate or 80% accuracy. A score of 31 fetches you a 95 percentile. 12 attempts with about 80% accuracy fetches you 27, and that's your 90 percentile. A score of 23, which is at about 10 attempts with 1 or 2 inaccurate, which is again 80% accuracy. A score of 23 fetches you an 80 percentile. A score of 37, which you reach with perhaps a 16 attempts and a 3 inaccurate or an 80% accuracy, that's your 99 percentile. You can see that it's a fairly lower score. 51 plus, 51 and more, which you reach by attempting 21 questions, maintaining about an 80% accuracy. So a score of 51 plus is what fetches you your 100 percentile. So this is all from me. I hope this mock was an enjoyable experience or great learning experience. Remember, this was a simulation of CAT 20 slot 2. Thank you.
So LRT analysis exact 3. Starting with the first set. First set, this is about 5 players are there. Lots of data is given related to them. But again, the moment you will solve these 5 equations that you are going to get out of it, all 4 correct questions are there with you. So quite doable. Even if you are starting your paper with this set, it perfectly makes sense because all these 4 questions are quite doable. The second set, again a simple pie chart along with a table with a little bit of calculation. You could have got the data. So, and especially 2 questions in this set have option as cannot be determined. That really going to make your life easier, provided you read questions properly. If you're able to conclude that, okay, in this question, answer is going to be cannot be determined, then really it is really going to save lots of time for you as well. Third set, you can say that this is relatively easier set of maximum minimum based set theory question. Since you would have solved such type of question earlier also, several times would have solved, starting from DI1 itself. So that's why in this case, I really consider this set quite doable. In case you still find problem with such set, I would suggest go and revise. You have so many examples in DI1 also. There are some questions, I think few sets in DI1, and then after that, even in mocks, you solve such sets, and even in DI essentials, There are few subsets. So maximum minima, easy question, doable. Keeping your experiential learning into consideration. Now, again, you can say a simple operation management based question. Lots of, you can say there are 4 questions, and that too with little bit of logical thought process, you would have cracked it. Now the next is this 2 question set. Again, keeping 2 questions into consideration, you can say that this is time taking, because compared to the score that we are going to get out of it, only 2 marks, it is really going to be a little bit more time taking. But okay, those of you who love solving such set, you can certainly try this one as well. This one, 19th, a typical interesting set, quite doable, and that too within the time limit, interesting question. So in case you are not able to solve this such question this time, please ensure that you are solving it on your own. And next time, if you are getting such opportunity, you are not missing it. This question, 19th set. Then the last one, last set was, I would consider it moderate to difficult, as lots of reading is required in this case. So in case you are done with the rest all of the set, then solving this set makes sense. Otherwise, just because of lots of data, lots of time are going to get invested while solving this set. So guys, overall, this is what the five cricketers said. Similarly, India versus other team, maxima, minima. So this is how I classify. So mostly you will see. So there were 2 easy sets. There were 4 easy to moderate and 1 moderate to difficult, just because of lots of data. So quite a good paper, you can say, scoring paper. So now, as far as the expected attempts in percentiles are concerned, I would consider those out of those 6 easy questions, you would have solved all 6 questions. Easy to moderate, 14 question, even if you are solving 11 out of it. So it is going to be something around 17 question. And your 90 percentile is going to be somewhere around 40 marks. 98 percentile, sorry, my mistake. 98 percentile is going to be something around 40 marks. And those of you who have written this paper seriously, you can easily vouch for it. Okay, this is one scoring paper. In case you are getting better score, that's good. Keep it up. Thank you, guys.
And here we are with the quant section of the ExET CAT 3 for this year. ExET CAT 3, this quant section for this test was based on 2006. Quite a good, easy section at that time. People scored well. And yes, if you're comparing, make sure to remember that they had 60 minutes, you have 40. Do keep that in mind if you're doing an ExET comparison. So let's begin with the quant of ExET CAT 3. 26 questions, 6 of basic, 6 of algebra, 6 geometry, and 14 of arithmetic. Basic algebra was 4 questions, 1 in quadratic equation, 1 set theory, and 2 questions from surds and indices. Advanced algebra, there were 2 questions on functions, 6 questions of geometry, 1 on triangles, 2 on circles, 1 coordinate geometry, and 2 on mensuration. Of the 14 arithmetic, 12 were basic and 2 advanced. Quite a spread, good spread. Percentage at 3 questions. The highest number here goes to percentage. 3 questions on percentage. And probably all of them were 3. All of them were easy. All 3 of them were easy. 1 question on alligation mixtures, 1 on averages. Numbers 1. 3 on percentage, as I just said. 1 profit loss, 1 ratio. 2 questions on time and work and 2 questions of time speed distance. In the advanced part, we had 1 on permutation combination and 1 in progressions. The easy questions. Let's look at the easy ones now. the ones which we should not have missed. As I said, the 3% questions were easy, all of these. The income of A, the first one among the percentages was the income of A is 30% more than that of B, 20% less of that of C. So comparative ratios are given, percentage of A, B, and C are given. So ratios can be found. If C's income grows by 4% and B's goes down by 10. So again, percentages, you know what happens to these ratios, what would be the incomes, how they would change. And finally, you need to answer the comparison of C's income and how much that would exceed B's income. And yes, it would be nearest to something, not an exact answer. So an approximation. Easy question. The second was a hunter throws a net to catch some birds on a tree. 30% of the birds get entangled in the net. 30% of the birds caught in the net die while trying to escape. The number of birds caught alive is what percentage of the number of birds that have flown away? Easy one. You should not have missed this. These three were not to be missed. A student, third one, a student scores 30% marks. Due to the COVID pandemic, the passing percentage is reduced by 50%. Reduced by 50%. But the student still failed by 45 marks. If the committee had reduced the passing percentage by 60%, he would have just passed. So all comparisons are given, all equations that you want to frame, you can frame. And of course, now the question was, what was the passing score? Marks, not the percentage needed for passing the examination before the pandemic. So all comparisons, equations ready-made. All you have to do was do a little bit of juggling here and there, and would we have a quick answer? 3 easy questions here. The other 3 were one on time and work. Maybe some people might just be frightened of the machines, name of the machine, CNC machines, artificial intelligence, robotic machines. Maybe people might start thinking that what is this? It's just like A and B. It's just like 7 pipes and 2 pipes filling water in a tank. So 7 CNC machines and 2 artificial intelligence robotic machines take 1/3 the time taken by one of each machines together. One of each, one CNC and one AI. If an AI robotic, that's what is going to give you the ratio between the efficiencies of CNC and AI robotic machines. That statement will only give you that ratio, and which will be enough to find the answer. If an AI robotic machine takes 8 days to complete, so ratio is known, you know the time taken by the AI robotic machine. So now you can even calculate that same for the CNC machine. So how many days will a CNC machine take to do the same? Quite an easy question, very easy question. Allegations and mixtures, the next. A scientist mixes 2 metals. 1 cc of metal X weighs 15 grams, while 1 cc of metal Y weighs 20 grams. I just hope nobody is frightened of density nowadays. If 5 cc of alloy of these 2 metals weighs 90 grams, what percentage by volume of the alloy is metal X? A very quick allegation cross and you could get the answer. The next is last easy question, surds and indices. If X and Y are integers such that root 3 raised to 25 multiplied by 4 cube multiplied by 27 raised to 4 multiplied by 8 square into 81 square. And that would equal, here there is no XY on the left hand side, only on the right hand side. Root 2 raised to 11 into 6 raised to 3, 18 raised to Y and 96 raised to X. Compare the powers of prime factors 2 and prime factor 3, prime number 2 and prime number 3. Compare their powers, you would have equations in X and Y, and you will have a very quick answer. What is the value of X? That would give you a very quick value of X. Now the moderate ones. There were 6 easy and 11 moderate. 11 moderate questions. The first moderate was profit and loss. On selling a compact car at 5% loss and a sedan at 10% gain, a dealer gains 3.2 lakhs. And then of course there's an interchange of the loss and gain percentage. If the selling of the compact car is at 10% gain, instead of 5% loss, now 10% gain. And the sedan, instead of 10% gain, 5% loss, he gains only 1.1 lakhs. Two quick linear equations, and this would give you an answer. Averages. In a class of 27 students, a math test was taken. The average score without considering the highest score was 1 less than the class average, while the average score without the lowest score was 2 marks more than the class average. Again, frame two equations and find the difference between the highest and lowest. Done. Quite moderate. Framing of those two equations might be a little difficult. That's what I think this is. I'm tempted to put this into moderate. Quite easy otherwise. Time and work. If A and B work at their usual efficiencies, they can complete a task in 16 days. But A works at 1/3 of his efficiency, and B at twice his efficiency, and they are able to complete the work in 13 days. So two equations, you know now the relation between the efficiencies of A and B. So the question, if A alone had worked with 1/3 higher efficiency than usual, in what time would their task get completed? So knowing the efficiencies, find out the link between their efficiencies and work, and a quick answer. The fourth moderate. If A1, A2, A3, ... such a series of numbers are in an increasing AP, and 1 upon root A1 plus 1 upon root of A1 plus root of A2 till the nth term like this, I mean n minus 1 terms, which of the following option would this equal? Maybe a little bit frightening to look at, but this is quite easy. All you need to do was rationalize the denominators. Rationalize the denominators, a quick answer, and then modify that answer to match with the options. So let's still put it as moderate. But you could not have missed this. You must have solved a very similar question in your classroom exercises, in your exercises books. Circles. In a circle of radius 24, the radius is given. CD is a diameter and AB is a chord of length something. So you know the radius, you know the diameter, and you know the chord length. AB and CD intersect at a point X inside the circle, and CX and DX differ by 8 centimeters. You already know the diameters CD. Point X is the point of intersection. You know the difference between the two lengths, so you know the parts. You know the total of the two lengths, you know the difference. You can find out CX and DX. Knowing the total length of AB, now you can obviously do the same using the chord rule. So by what length do BX and AX differ? Probably by what do they differ here is a distraction. You start thinking of, okay, the difference between the diameter is this. How do I find the difference between this? You actually not find the difference directly. First find the values and then the difference. Sixth ratio question. The sixth moderate question, which is of ratios. A, B, and C invest money in the ratio something in fixed deposits, having respective interest rates as 654, another ratio for the rate of interest. If after a year C's interest exceeds B's interest by this, what is the interest amount? Income of A. Just compound the two ratios and you will have the ratio of their incomes, and very quick solution, very quick. Compounding is what probably makes this moderate rather than easy. Had this not been compounding, then this would be an easy question. But just because some people might still do not get that link that, okay, this is to be compounded, the two ratios are to be compounded. That's why moderate. Continuing with the moderate, set theory. A family of 98, there is a family, I've written in short because this is a very lengthy question to read probably. All the young persons drink milk only. They don't drink coffee, they don't drink tea. On becoming adults, they can additionally opt for tea or coffee or both. So milk has to be continued or maybe discontinued, which is obviously mentioned. There are 20 young persons. Each adult has opted for at least one of tea or coffee. 20 new discontinued milk. So discontinuing is permitted indirectly, which is mentioned. So 22 have discontinued milk and started tea. So while 19 have started coffee, and out of these 5 have started both. So a lot of data is given to us directly. Create a Venn diagram and you will quickly start having answers. Of the adults who continued milk, those opting for tea were 6 times those opting for coffee. How many drink all the 3 drinks? So quickly make a Venn diagram. The only problem might be the last part. 6 times of those who continued milk, those opting for tea were 6 times those opting for coffee. That is the only thing that might be a little something that might put it into moderate. Had that part not been there, had that part been a bit easy, I would be tempted to put this question into the easy part. This is only the part which makes it moderate. Time, speed, distance. 2 cars start simultaneously from point X to reach point Y. The first car reaches 1 hour earlier than the second, and the second car traveled for at least 5 hours and at most 8 hours. So a limit for the time is given, either 5 or 8 or in between. The average speed of the first car was Z% more than that of the second. Now it is very obvious. Take it as either 5 hours or 8 hours. One of the limit must give you the limits. So Z% more than that. What is the greatest possible value of Z? Try 5, try 8, and one of them has to give you the answer. Moderate question. Circles. ABC is a diameter of a circle of radius 24. PQ are on the circle such that PB is 15 and AP, the point P is 15 centimeters away from one point, and AP is 3 times as long as AQ. Then the length in centimeters of QB is nearest to which of the following? Nearest to. So I think just apply Pythagoras and you should have the answer. A little bit of drawing, maybe a circle you need to draw. A little bit here and there, and a quick Pythagoras should give you the answer. Numbers. The product of 2 positive numbers is 621. Numbers are positive. If the ratio of the difference of their cubes, a cube minus b cube, difference of the cubes. So cubes first, a cube, b cube, and the difference. To the cube of their difference. So this is a minus b whole cube. This is whole cube. So that ratio is given to you as 1879 is to 16. So the ratio of a cube minus b cube and a minus b whole cube is given. What is the sum of these 2 numbers? So use up a few identities, use up a few equations, and this should be quickly done. That would be a little lengthy. That's why probably I'm putting it as moderate. Not too lengthy, but moderate. Time, speed, distance. Probably this is one which ideally, if you just remember the equation mentally, this could have been done mentally. In a race, the winner beats the second person in the race by 25 meters and the third person by 109 meters. And the second beats the third by 85 meters. What was the length in meters of the race? If you remember the equation, probably this would happen mentally. All you need to do is multiply a few numbers after getting that. I'll not speak those numbers right now. So just multiply those numbers and you will have an answer. So those were the 11 easy questions, moderate questions. And now the 9 difficult ones. Some difficult, some lengthy, some a little new. Quadratic equations. What is the product of the distinct roots of the equation this? Had the word distinct not been there, it could have been a moderate or maybe even an easy question. So this requires you to actually calculate all the possible roots, find out if any of them are non-distinct, and then answer accordingly. Modulus is one thing that might increase the time of solving. Functions, two questions here. For any positive integer n, let f of n be equal to n into n plus 1 if n is even. So it's a conditional function like that, conditional input. And if f of n is equal to n plus 100 if n is odd. For how many natural numbers n less than 100 is f of n greater than equal to f of n plus 1? Start writing down the list. Find out f1, find out f2, find out f3. Go on doing this. Maybe at some point of time soon enough, you should realize that, okay, this is where I stop. The rest is easy for me. Then you can understand how many are greater. It requires a little bit of work. And that is where people need the courage to know that, yes, I should do this. Had somebody been courageous, this would not be impossible to solve. But yes, you could have you could have left this question. The next was consider a function f satisfying f of x plus y, x plus y in bracket, is equal to f of x multiplied by f of y. Now, for those who have practiced such things, understood such things, this could have been a question which can be solved mentally. Progressions is involved, functions is involved. But if you know what this means, it's like vocabulary. I know what a word means. I can understand the meaning of that sentence. But if I don't know the meaning of that word, I don't know what that sentence means. So you cannot sit down in an exam trying to understand what type of function this would be. Most should remember that this is nothing but a GP. The function is a GP, and that too with a equal to r. Now you are already told f1 is 2. That means the function, the series of numbers that you will get is simply 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Powers of 2. And again, now you have summation of powers of 2 is also given. This can be done almost mentally. Knowing that this was a GP is something that is crucial. The crux is to know that f of x plus y is equal to f of x multiplied by f of y means a GP. You cannot find out that in an exam. Permutation combination blended with coordinate geometry, blended with verbal confusion. With rectangular coordinate axis of coordinates, what is the number of shortest paths from 5, 6 x and y coordinates to 10, 12 via 7, 9? So this is where it is only to frighten you that coordinate geometry. No, it's just permutation combination. Roots. How many roots are there from A to B? The only confusing verbal part was where each step from any point xy is either to x, y plus 1 or x plus 1y. Now, trying to interpret such statements might take away some time for those who are not focused on verbal. This is just roots, nothing else. In other words, and if you actually understand that this is roots, it is easier than the normal question, easier than a figure, ready-made figure given to you, because on the figure you have to count the number of verbal, the vertical and horizontal paths. Here you know it. You can see that 5, 6 to 7, 9 means your 2, 5 to 7 will be 2 horizontal parts, and 6 to 9 3 vertical paths. 3 parts vertical, 2 parts horizontal. 5 factorial upon 2 factorial, 3 factorial. That's it. It takes just this time. Everything is almost made easier for you rather than difficult for you. Yes, the appearance is difficult. That's why I'm putting this into difficult. Maybe this is one which those who are expecting 98 percentile, they should not have missed this. 98 plus means you should not have missed this question, although difficult. Okay, the progressions. A series of numbers starts with 4. So the first term is 4. Each following number is obtained by multiplying the previous number by 5 and then adding 8. Multiply by 5. If the 8 were not there, it would be a pure GP. 4 then into 520 into 500 into 500 and so on. So it's a GP, but now we are adding 8. So it's almost like a modified GP. The first few numbers thus will be, okay, so you already been given 428, 148 and so on. What will be the 20th term of this series? Yes, maybe difficult. Maybe you don't know how to find out how to frame the equation, how to, because you might not even have good enough options. You don't have any method to go by options. So maybe you could have avoided this. Triangles. I would probably I'll still be tempted to put this into moderate, if not easy. 3 congruent equilateral triangles are cut off from the corners of an already existing equilateral triangle T. There is an existing equilateral triangle. From the 3 corners, you're cutting off 3 congruent, means equal triangles, equilateral triangles. So obviously what you get will be a hexagon, but this is not a trisection. Had it been a trisection, what you get is a regular hexagon. So the question goes on to say the type of hexagon. To produce a hexagon H such that its longer sides are twice its shorter sides. Probably you might think, why have they written the words in bracket, smallest possible? There are 2 situations where you might get, because they have not said which side is longer and which side is shorter. They've said the longer is twice the shorter. So the side that is generated by cutting off the corners could be twice the original sides of the triangle. The sides got from the original sides of the triangle, or the other way around. So that is where the smallest possible helps us. The triangle that you cut off should be the smallest. So it should be the least possible. What is the ratio of the area of H to area of T? One small thing here about that smallest possible, and you could get an answer quickly. Coordinate geometry. Let S be the set of all points xy in the xy plane such that modulus x plus modulus y is less than equal to 2. Most of you should now remember that modulus x plus modulus y, suppose it were equal to 2, then it will be a square whose diagonal will be 4. The square will have its vertices on the axis. The sides are not parallel to the axis. The sides are at 45 degrees to the axis. The points, the vertices of the square will be on the axis and the diagonals will match with the axis. That is the position of such a graph. So less than 2 will mean all the points inside. And then there's a combination of the other part. And modulus x is less than equal to 1. I believe it could be more than equal to 1. I hope this is not a misprint. So we have to then find the area of this part. Not very difficult, except for knowing the square part. That's why I'm putting it as difficult. Triangles. The lines 12x minus 5y is equal to 0, 4x plus 3y is equal to 56, and the x-axis form a triangle. What is the radius of the largest circle that can be inscribed in the triangle? Again, looks a little more frightening than it is. Luckily, 12x minus 5y is equal to 0. There is no constant, means it is passing through the origin. The first line passes through the origin. The second line has a negative slope and it will intersect somewhere with the first line and the x-axis. Draw a little bit, find out the radius. The largest radius here, of course, means you need to find the in radius. I just hope you remember the equation. Anyway, you can otherwise equate the area of the triangle with the Heron's equation. Area of the triangle can be found by two ways, half base height and by using Heron's equations formula. So equate these two and the in radius would be found. Sorry, not half base height, but RS. Area of a triangle. Because it is the in radius, you need to somehow involve in radius into your equations. There's only one equation that you remember using in radius and area. Area is RS. So RS and the Heron's equation, when you equate these two, the radius can be found. Mensuration. The three distinct diagonals of a cuboid are given. What is the volume of the cuboid? Quite okay. A little new way, a little different way of asking something. You understand diagonals, not very lengthy to solve. Knowledge concept would more be important here than length, knowing the concept. That was the breakup of the 6 easy, 11 moderate, and 9 difficult questions. 40 minutes. In 2006, people were given 60 minutes. You only had 40. Keeping that in mind, I'll still say this. None of the 6 easy should have been missed. At least not if you are a 98 percentile, expecting 98 percentile. Out of the 11 moderate, maybe you can miss one, avoid one, get stuck up somewhere in one or two. 9 should have been done. One difficult at least, one of them at least could have been done. This brings us to a total of 16 attempts out of a total of 26. 16 attempts in 40 minutes. Maybe sometime you might lose some time in skipping the difficult ones. 16 attempts. I would expect not more than 2 errors. 2 errors is the maximum, which gives you a score of 40. A score of 40 probably is something that would get you 98 percentile. 98 percentile can be achieved at a score of 40. 100 percentile can be at 54. 54, which means you need actually 18 correct and no wrong. Or maybe you can have 1 more correct and 3 wrong. That could give you something like 100 percentile. 18 all correct. 99 percentile at 45. Which means you need to attempt at least 12 questions, at least 12. Sorry, at least 16 questions correct, net correct, which would give you a score of 48, maybe 1 wrong somewhere, 1 more, 17 correct and 1 wrong might give you 99 percentile. 95 can still be achieved with a score of 33, 95 percentile. Just 11 correct, 6 easy ones and 5 of the moderate, all correct, could give you 95 percentile. 90 percentile at 27. The 6 easy should be all correct, 18 marks there. 3 more out of the moderate, net 3 more correct, would give you 90 percentile. All of those 6 easy ones and a little more from somewhere for 80. 80 percentile at 19 marks, 90 percentile at 27 marks. This is for the quant section. Now let's have an overall view. We've just seen the quant. DILR seems to be a very similar difficulty level. 40 marks for 98 percentile. DILR. And 56 for 100 percentile. 56 as compared to 53 of quant. That means DILR section could be a little easier than quant also. All the marks, if you see, observe, are 1 or 2 greater than quant. Quant is 45 for 99 percentile. DILR is 46, 33, 34, 27, 28, 19, 21. So 1, 2, 1, 2 here and there. Maybe just a little easier than quant. Verbal might have been a little bit tougher than these two sections comparatively. 98 percentile is only at 34 marks, 6 less than the quant marks. Quant and DI both. So that way, maybe verbal was a little tougher. But if we observe, 80 percentile is at not 19, but at a higher 23 marks. That means there might have been a little more easier questions, maybe. So lower range has gone up and the upper one has come down from 56 to 51. Everything else has come down. The lower range is at 23, 23, 27, 31, 34 for 98 percentile, 37 for 99 percentile, and 51 for 100. Overall, if you see, 98 percentile can be achieved at 103 marks, 103. And 100 percentile could have been achieved overall at 149 marks. This is the overall breakup of the expected scores and percentiles. A few weeks now to get, 4 weeks to get. Work hard, stay safe.